Everyone, let's begin writing our essay. Once again, this is an agree-disagree essay, okay, for writing task 2. Agree, disagree. And the question says it would be more important to concentrate on our society, our future society, on the future of our society, than dwell on the past. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So again, better to concentrate on the future than dwell on the past. And of course, because the question says to what extent do you agree or disagree, this is an agree-disagree style essay, which makes it easier for us. Than the other types, because it's very straightforward, this one. Okay, so also let's remember that for our essay we are following our guide, which is right here. This is our agree-disagree essay format on page, just try to fit it into the screen here, 89, page 89 of our grammar and guides, page 89 and page, this is the other side, 90. Okay. All right. So let's begin then. According to our guide, our first sentence will be about the topic sentence. We're going to introduce the topic. Okay. So here we go. It says, in our early 21st century, the extent to which humanity should focus on future progress instead of concentrating on its past is often debated. Okay? So, we can see here that we introduced the question, okay? Should focus on future progress instead of, means not concentrating on its past. Okay? So now we got that sentence there, our topic sentence. Now we move on to our general viewpoints. Let's remember that we should try to think firstly of a common opinion. Right. So it says here, a common opinion is that we should do all we can at the moment to guarantee our future can be successful. Guarantee that our future, so I should say that. To guarantee that our future can be successful. So this is a common opinion. Means most people think this. And I think it's true. Most people think that we should focus on our future, not our past. Okay, the next sentence is talking Well, for the agree disagree essay, we should give one general view that agrees or disagrees, and another general view that disagrees or agrees. So this one here says we should focus on our future, so it agrees. So now I'm going to say another view, general view for our intro, that talks about this topic, but the opposite. So it has to be something about disagree here. So I've put here, while from another perspective, some historians posit that. Remember, when we write, the second view tends to be more academic or stronger. And we usually say some experts speak about this, or some specific experts. In this case, historians, right? Historians they usually speak about the future. So that's why I've brought them in here. Okay? To give the other perspective on this topic. So it says, some historians posit that we should analyze our history to ensure that we will make the most accurate decisions for tomorrow. Accurate means like correct or the best. So you can see here that this view by historians is that we should think about our history. We should talk about it. We should use it for our future, which is different than the common opinion, which says we should just focus on our present, or like focus on making the best decisions for the future, not our past. Okay. So the next step would be to talk about our general view or our thesis. Okay. So it's despite the varying opinions from my point of view. So we're going to write here our main opinion, or we can call it thesis statement. Let's remember that when we write the agree-disagree essay, you could write that you agree completely on one side and get 9, for example. And the same if you completely disagree, you can get 9. Really, what's important is your ideas and how strongly you write. However, from my experience and how I've told you before, the most academic essays or the stronger essays are the ones that explore both sides of the debate. Let's remember that most questions like agree, disagree, or argument essays, or positive, negative, they are debates. And we as academic students need to show that we have knowledge on both sides of this debate. And just to give you an example, an essay that is one-sided, not very strong, but is only one-sided, it will get probably 6 or 6.5. But an essay that is the same, not so strong in like language, it can get 6.5 or 7 even if it's on both sides. So that's why it's better to write your essay exploring the topic, exploring reasons to agree, and exploring reasons to disagree. So when we write the opinion for our essay, we should write it neutrally. We should write a sentence that is neutral, one that looks at reasons for agreeing or a view about agreeing, and something that also says that maybe we could disagree. So what did we write here? Let's see. Okay, so you see there, it says, so from my point of view, humanity must focus on taking appropriate measures for its future. Okay, that sounds like agree. Concentrate on the future, right? But we want to remain neutral, so we can say, however, the past could enable us to select our choices more concretely. This means stronger. So you can see here that this general opinion, I want to say general, or thesis, is kind of like your main opinion for the whole essay. It's neutral. It gives, we should focus on the future, but the past is also important. So it disagrees with this. It says we should think about the past. Okay? I hope that's clear to everyone. And there you have it. There's our introduction. Again, we have our main topic sentence, some general views, and our main opinion. Now let's get to our first paragraph. Second paragraph, which is the first side or our first point. And like it says in our guide, we should write whatever we think less first. The reason for that is the way that we're going to use some sentences that will make whatever we say second sound stronger, okay? It's never really that we agree more in the second one. It's just that, remember, we are exploring the topic. So we're going to explore the first side, or whatever we think first, which we think less, okay? All right. So we need to be on topic. Our opening sentence needs to say something about why we agree or disagree related to this topic. For me, regarding this sentence, I agree with it more. I agree that we should concentrate on the future of our society more. So for that reason, I'm going to write the disagree first, because I disagree less. Okay? Okay. So it says, to begin with, there are several crucial reasons to disagree with the idea that mankind should undermine the relevance of its history toward its future. About its future here. Undermine. Undermine means make less important. So that's what this question is saying. Our past is less important. So we want to the question is saying we should undermine the past or not think about it. So we want to disagree with that. Mankind, humanity. This topic is about humanity in general. Okay, not just people. Just I think about our world. It's still appropriate to use mankind. I know some people want to be used like people kind, like Justin Trudeau, but that's not the appropriate term, at least officially. So again, in this paragraph, this opening sentence says that in this paragraph, we are going to give some reasons why we disagree with the topic. And that's because I think this less, okay? So let's get to our first idea of why, okay? Okay. So it says, first and most importantly, whatever defines us at the moment has been undeniably shaped by our previous generations, such as our way of thinking, culture, and customs. Okay. So it just says here that the past or the previous generations, they are important, or they made us who we are. That's what has been shaped. Has been shaped. Notice here, you could say has been shaped, but I put this undeniably here to make it stronger. Has been shaped. It's just very simple to say it is shaped, right? But you say it is greatly shaped. Stronger. That's what adverbs do. Adverbs make verbs or some other words stronger. So here, not just shaped, but undeniably shaped. Means for sure, certainly shaped. Also, we use present perfect because we're talking about from the past until now. Not was shaped. Was shaped is only in the past. But has been shaped means from the past until now. Usually when we talk about trends or things that have happened, we use present perfect for that. Okay, so there's the first idea. Now what we want to do next is we want to explain or give an example. I use kind of examples here. You see, I said such as our way of thinking, culture, and customs. Those are examples of this idea. So, because I already did that, what I want to do is explain a little bit the relationship between my idea and the topic. So, if what we are is shaped by the previous generation, what does this mean? So, I'm going to put here, owing to this reality, understanding the road which has led to our present could certainly enable us to understand all aspects of ourselves more clearly and yield stronger decisions for tomorrow. Okay, good. So you can see here that, well, yield, first of all, is a verb. It should be in red here. I didn't, let me see if I can change it. There we go. So this says basically that if we understand how we got here, the road, or how we were defined, then this will help us, enable us, help us understand more about ourselves, aspects of ourselves, and provide, yield us with stronger decisions for tomorrow. Basically, if we understand the past, we can make better decisions for tomorrow. And I do think that it's important to understand the past. But in this paragraph, as you see, I'm arguing, or I'm saying that I agree with this topic less, okay? So we'll see what happens in the next paragraph. Now let's go to another idea. We need to give another idea here about this side, okay? So this idea here is of similar significance, is that by dwelling on our past, remember, dwelling means thinking about our past or considering our past, we could avoid the mistakes of our ancestors. That's true. We already said that when we were brainstorming. Avoid the mistakes, of our ancestors, people that came before us. Okay? So this is saying that it's important to think about the past for that reason. Now, you see here how this sentence doesn't really give us an example. Like up here we had such as our way of thinking, culture, and customs. This seems more like just an idea. We could avoid the mistakes of our ancestors. Okay. So it seems like what I need is an example to make everything clearer. That's why I've decided to put an example here. All right. And what does it say? It says, a clear example of this may be our current global pandemic. Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't want to talk about it, but it's a good example of this. It seems we may have not been adequately prepared for this health crisis. And as such means, and for this reason, we should ensure that future generations can be more appropriately prepared. So you see how this is saying here, this global pandemic is an example of a current situation. And we're saying that if we understand this situation now, the future generations will be better prepared, and they won't make the mistake that many countries have done already, which is they're not prepared. I guess another way to think about it is, let's remember that we did have pandemics before. Like I was reading, or I was watching a video about the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. it was really, well, significant. And it made me think, that was in 1918. Why did our society not think about, we need to be prepared for such a huge global crisis? And in some ways, I think that the strict measures that are being taken by some countries, like complete lockdown, and I hope that we don't get to that, is they're thinking about that past event, and they are trying not to make those mistakes. Because I was watching that in those days, they didn't really take strong measures to prevent the spread. And I think now we're trying to avoid that mistake. But still, we're not prepared enough, and we should have been. And we hope that future generations are. Okay, so there you go. That example illustrates better how we could avoid mistakes, okay? So now we get to the closing of this paragraph. And we want to write a closing sentence that summarizes what we spoke about in this paragraph, which is why we disagree with this idea. Okay? So we're following our structure here, and you can see, therefore, we could agree that our history could provide a significant contribution for the steps we must take for tomorrow. So notice we say we could agree with this idea, but this idea here is the opposite of this one. That's why we put agree here. The question is saying we shouldn't think about the past. But this paragraph was saying we should think about the past. So we could agree that our history could provide a significant contribution, means some really good help or ideas for the steps we must take for tomorrow. Yep. Okay, good. So that was our second paragraph. Remember, we explored reasons why we could disagree with the topic question. So now we're going to get to our third paragraph, which we should say, and we should explore why we could agree with this topic. Remember, I said this paragraph should be stronger. So we're going to focus on some language that makes it stronger. Okay? So let's see here. Our opening sentence should say something about we are in agreement with this topic. Okay? And let's see what it says here. It says, on the other hand, however, there are far greater considerations for agreeing with the idea that, it should say notion here. It should say notion. Notion that humanity should concentrate on creating a stronger future rather than lingering in its past. Okay, so you see here, first of all, it says far greater considerations. So there you go. That's kind of the language that makes this paragraph sound stronger. So far greater considerations for agreeing should concentrate on creating a stronger future. So on the future of our society, says the question. Rather than means but not lingering Lingering or to linger means thinking about, dwelling, remaining there. So lingering in its past or thinking about its past. Okay, so that's the opening sentence. Again, which introduces that in this paragraph, we're going to agree with the question. So now we get to our first idea, and following our structure, it says that we should use consider the fact that. Again, that kind of opening phrase, that starting phrase, that connector, consider the fact is strong. It's stronger than first and most importantly. Because consider the fact means, oh, this is true. It's factual, which sounds stronger. That's another example of how this paragraph means that we agree more. Okay? So consider the fact that focusing on our history could be an obstacle for taking appropriate measures for the future. It says obstacle. Focusing on our history could be an obstacle, a block. It stops us from what? For taking appropriate or correct measures for the future. I think that's true. Now, notice again that this sentence or this idea doesn't seem to be clear enough because it's missing like an example, something to explain it more. So for that case, I think we need an example here, not an explanation, an example. What do we have? Okay, look here. It says to illustrate. So that again means we can put take for example or to illustrate or for example. To illustrate kind of like gives more, rather than something like a direct example, it kind of shows something. It's trying to illustrate an example. So it says here, our current climate crisis is centered on the fact that we cannot escape our traditional way of thinking about fossil fuels. Okay. And this could be impeding progress, which could ultimately lead to environmental collapse. Interesting. Okay. So, first of all, it's saying that we have a climate crisis, a problem that we can't solve. But why can't we solve it? Because it says we cannot escape our traditional way of thinking. Traditional way of thinking, it's, well, traditional, it's past. Okay? So it says here we can't escape that way of thinking. We're concentrating on our past, basically. We're not focusing on our future. And this, especially, focusing on our future would be using solar energy or electricity. That's what we need to focus on right now. That's modern thinking, not traditional. That's what it means here. So because we can't escape that way of thinking, then this could be impeding. That's the verb to impede, which means stopping, blocking our progress. And this could be impeding progress. Well, I guess this could be impeding climate progress. Wait, let's put progress on our climate. There we go. So it's blocking that progress on our climate, which could lead to, or ultimately maybe make it stronger, ultimately lead to environmental collapse. Means our environment will break apart, which we have already seen. Forest fires, drastic weather changes, which are causing so much destruction. Okay? I mean, we're not talking about climate change these days, I already said, because we have this health crisis. But who knows? Maybe a huge, drastic weather change, I would say, like maybe some kind of ice age. I don't know. Maybe it'll take the coronavirus away. I don't know. Anyway, this example here shows how focusing on our past or our history is an obstacle for our future, okay? Now, we need another example, and let's see what we have here. Our second idea for this paragraph. So look again, it says, an equally important fact is that. Again, that connector is stronger than up here we said of similar significance. So an equally important fact is stronger, which makes this whole paragraph sound stronger and means we agree with this side more. Okay? So an equally important fact is that our history may be a barrier toward, a barrier, an obstacle, a block toward mending, means fixing, correcting, changing the ways of the past and moving forward. Such as the many historical issues that exist between nations. Oh, good example here, or good idea. It says that our history blocks us from fixing the ways of our past. We see this in many nations. I can give you an example in the Middle East, for example, between the Palestinian people and the Israeli people and other Arab nations, as well as in India, between India and Pakistan, there's these conflicts. In Asia, there seems to be a lot of problems between China and its neighbors, but even a bigger picture, for example, the US and Russia. So there's all these historical problems between these nations, historical issues that are basically a barrier, blocking, and they're not helping us move forward toward the future. Maybe even causing problems right now with our health crisis. Okay? So this gives a good idea with some examples, such as, so for that reason, we need an explanation. We need to say, how does this, what does this mean for our topic about the future? Okay? So we have here, on account of this, so because of this, our society remains in deadlock. Oh, good word here. In deadlock means like stuck. Can't move forward. So we're in deadlock on a plethora. Remember, a plethora of means many. It's an academic way of saying many. On a plethora of socio-political issues. Yes, right. Lots of social political problems there. And is unable to establish peace and harmony. Okay, so here it says, and it is. So we're talking about our society. We're not making a new one. So we're saying that our society remains in deadlock and is unable, so can't establish peace and harmony. Wow, and I really do agree with that. Okay. Excuse me. So you can see here that this idea explains, or this reasoning here, it's explaining that history could be a barrier towards fixing. So we're stuck in the past, basically, with our thinking, with our differences, and we can't move forward. We're in deadlock. Okay. Good. So now you see here we gave our two ideas and we gave reasons. Now we get to closing this paragraph. Okay. Following our structure here, our closing sentence says, consequently, it is without a doubt that our history could be a hurdle. A block, a barrier, an obstacle, which we need to overcome. Means we need to pass it. We need to forget about it rather than dwell in. So instead of dwelling in it, or our history here, dwell in, we need to overcome it. Okay, and that's what this paragraph was about. So again, the language in this second paragraph here, like far greater, consider the fact that, an equally important fact, those connectors make this paragraph sound stronger than the first one, which you can see from reading this, that the second paragraph is more what I agree with. So in here, in the first paragraph, I explored the reasons to disagree. Now I get to the second paragraph, and the language that I use is stronger to emphasize my points. So it does sound like I agree with this topic more. Okay, good. Now we get to our conclusion, short and sweet. The first sentence, again, we should try to write a sentence that is related to the topic. This essay is about history and about our progress in history. So, what did we write here? Says, to conclude, throughout our history, each generation has been attempting to evolve to a more harmonious state of existence. Interesting. So it's basically saying here that throughout history, every society, I guess every new generation tries to evolve or change to something better, more harmonious state. Okay, that's what it says. That's what maybe history is about. That's what it's saying here. Okay, and then the last sentence that we should put here is one that emphasizes our main opinion. And you can see here in the introduction, it said something neutral, right? That we should focus on taking appropriate measures for the future, and the past could help us. So again, here when we write the last sentence, which is our final point, we should make it strong. And what I've written here Let's see. Let's try to keep it in one page here. Yep. Okay. It says, above all, I would like to emphasize that our past may indeed be an element of our humanity which cannot be erased. Interesting. So I did say that, and I did talk about that. Maybe that our past is important. And I said we need our past. It says we may not be able to erase it. We can't ignore it. I will use however again to talk about to make it neutral. And it says here, however, we should concentrate on paving a brighter future for, let's change that, a brighter tomorrow, let's put, because we can't use future twice, doesn't sound that good. Paving a brighter tomorrow for our future generations. Very interesting. Paving. It's kind of like paving the road. So we mean paving a better tomorrow, like creating a brighter tomorrow or better future. Okay? Not sure why this is showing here. What does it say? Okay, it's telling us we can use a semicolon better. I think you can use a semicolon or comma there. It's not really that important. So our last sentence here, again, really did sound stronger. So we concentrate on paving a brighter tomorrow. So it says we may not be able to ignore our past, but we should concentrate on paving the brighter tomorrow. Again, it sounds like I agree more. Even though it's neutral, it sounds like I agree with this topic more. Okay. So just to analyze final comments, 4 paragraphs is all we need. Again, we should explore both sides. It's stronger. This one is probably 400 words. Oh, I see here it says here 476. Yes, this is a very complete essay, but I think that 350 to 400 words is what a level 7 should write. And again, also we do use a lot of connectors here. You see all the blue is connecting sentences. So they're not very strong. It's not like we're using ideas. So that is taken into consideration for your grade. Is there wording here or is there just connect, like this sentence here on the other? You see, it's kind of long. I would say about 100 words are just connecting. So that's important. I wouldn't say the language is so strong. I personally think this essay could be like 7 to 7.5. I always write at that level. It's more to do about everything, right? The structure, the grammar, the vocabulary, the ideas. The vocabulary here is not so strong. Some good words, but nothing really, nothing so strong like level 9. Again, same thing, ideas, okay? And the most important part about the agree-disagree essay that I want to say is we need to explore both sides. And this will always make our essay stronger. Okay, everyone. That concludes our first essay written on our Facebook page. I hope it was clear. Please comment with any questions you may have. And for homework, we see here for homework, we should be looking at, oh, no, we're backing up here. Right. Oh, it's not in this one here. Let me go back. Let me see here. Okay, well, I'll write the homework. I will write it for you as a next post, okay? So again, we should be reading this essay and we should be rewriting it, okay? We want to be able to have all these ideas here. I don't think these ideas are strong. These are, I would say, general or basic. I mean, academically speaking. Okay? They're not the kind of level that is required by the president of the USA. Or maybe I'm just joking there. I think these are better than Donald Trump's ideas, okay? Or maybe even better than Justin Trudeau's. I'm not sure. But I have read essays myself from students in the past that are stronger. So that's what I'm saying. That we should at least know these or something similar. I think this covers both sides. So please write this essay in your course books. And that'll be a good practice for you. And again, if you have any comments or questions about this topic or words or vocabulary, please comment below. Okay, everyone. I will be talking to you soon on the Facebook page. Please comment. I encourage you. See you later.